Wales away, I like it, Wales
That's
away,
what the sheep say.
I like it, Du- 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 du. Du- 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 du. Ah, go on, man, take us away.
Morg, play the jingle.
Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the Football Booth Podcast. My name is Fennan. Join alongside me, as I do every week. I've got Mayhem. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good.
And for the third week in a row, he's on his phone. He's clearly occupied with something else right now. Get yourself off Tinder. We got Cam. How you doing, mate?
Very good. Yourself?
Not too bad. Well, it's officially summertime. The irony behind that, there is currently a blizzard outside here in Stockholm tonight. Go figure.
Top banter.
Beautiful.
Get yourself to the beach, buddy.
Oh, lovely. Get that summer bod and that. I think it'll be quite a short episode tonight because, as you may well know, we did have the international break. We did have a few results that we will be discussing along the way. And best way to start off is with you, Joel. You're repping the colours tonight, I see. You came away with a 3-0 win over Cyprus on Saturday, I believe. Do you want to... I don't know if you caught any of the game, if you wanted to talk us through
I
it.
didn't.
I know you fucking didn't. You never fucking do.
Oh yeah. Obviously start of the campaign. I thought I would rep the colours. The more I look at the new kit, the more I go off it, the more it begins to look more and more like a certain kit that a Glasgow club would wear. I don't know how you see it. Not sure about the red, white, and blue as well. I'm not like the whole kit. I don't know. Mate.
It doesn't look right, mate.
Nine.
I mean, what's on your sleeve? Is that red? Is that white? And is that blue?
Yeah.
Fucking.
It's just not. It's just not the full kit. I mean,
It looks nice.
I don't know. Maybe I'll come around. Maybe when it's not 90 quid in JD, I'll come around.
It's ridiculous, the prices of replica shirts nowadays.
I think we're talking from a world of pain, you know, and I know that we've won, and we've been that bad for the past 2 decades that we're accepting, you know, the most awful football because we're beating these teams. But people are talking about progress because in Steve Clarke's first game, we scored a late winner against Cyprus, and in this game, we scored 3-0. I nearly fell asleep watching the game. Hampden was as quiet as I've ever heard it. It was
that bad.
And it was you know it was mostly a capacity crowd, and past the national anthem and the first kind of buzz of the game kicking off, it was lackluster. And I just think it's Cyprus at home. We don't need five at the back. Like we're playing this to shoehorn Kieran Tierney in because he's too scared to drop Andy Robertson because he's captain. Now, you know, bear in mind at the moment, you know, Tierney probably wouldn't get in on form because he's not playing for Arsenal and Robinson's playing for Liverpool.
Yeah.
So it probably wouldn't be controversial to go to four at the back and Tierney start on the bench or deputise him at right back. And I think Aaron Hickey had a decent game at right back, but it just shows where Scotland are at. We've got three decent level left backs. Aaron Hickey obviously playing for Brentford, Tierney at
Has he
Arsenal.
been playing for Brentford, Aaron Hickey?
Well,
Because he came to Brentford with such high regard, didn't he?
He's been injured, so I don't think, you know, we can't really, you know, judge him too much on where he's been at this season. But obviously he's playing in the Premier League. He's playing for a Premier League club. It just seems to be all we develop as left backs. We've got Aaron Hickey, obviously did well in Syria, got his move, picked up a knock, but still highly regarded, obviously with Tierney, and then with Robertson. So, you know, we're solid down that left side. Like I said, Aaron Hickey playing at right back. Angus Gunn, I guess, you know, in making his debut, keeps a clean sheet. It's nice to not have a 40-year-old in goal, flicking between David Marshall and Craig Gordon. So it's nice to have someone that's, you know, maybe going to being there for a little bit of longevity.
Has that been recent, Angus Gunn declaring for Scotland?
Yeah, like I said, he only made his that was his debut there against
Oh, wow.
Cyprus. So yeah, I think the shock probably was that Scott McTominay started on the bench. He's been one of Steve Clarke's main men. Ryan Jack got the nod next to Callum McGregor. Stuart Armstrong and John McGinn playing a wee bit further forward, and Che Adams. There's a lot of controversial. I think me and Cam could probably have a long old debate about who should be starting and what we should do, and yeah, it's just really flat. John McGinn is probably Scotland's best player in terms of performances, and he gets the game going. A deflected cross from Andy Robertson, ricochets up, and McGinn taps it in. Steve Clarke's man, better than Zidane, as the song suggests. And I think it was his 15th goal in Steve Clarke's reign or in his Scotland career, probably Scotland career. But he's a solid performer for us. He does the job. Seems like when we're up against these little teams, he's the man for the occasion. But there's nothing to us, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. And this is what I'm saying. I think the problem is that we've been suffocated with piss for so long. For so long, we've had to watch us be a nearly team. We get into the Euros, we just will accept anything now. This guy's got us to the Euros, so we'll throw him on another 3-year contract till 2026.
Yeah.
And the stadium's flat and we're falling asleep watching football matches, and it looks like a comfortable game against Cyprus, but only when McTominay comes off the bench and bags two in the 85th and injury time does it actually become a comfortable game. Like we're in control the whole way, but all it takes is a set piece or a sloppy moment, which Scotland are famously renowned for, and they're back at one each, and we're struggling to get over it. We didn't make a great deal. Che Adams didn't play well, went off injured. Dykes come on and looked like someone that's only played 3 games for QPR in the last few months and suffered from pneumonia. Stuart Armstrong, elusive really. Callum McGregor got man of the match. I don't know how, because I don't think he had a great game. Ryan Jack.
He is someone that you don't really hear of nowadays, Stuart Armstrong. Is he still plying his trade at Southampton?
Yeah.
He is still there, okay.
Still at Southampton. Callum McGregor, I don't think had a great game. I thought he was quite anonymous, compared to what he normally does for the performances that he puts in for Celtic. Ryan Jack was all right. It was his combative self. He was what you expect him to be. And then obviously a couple of changes. Ryan Christie come on, put himself about a wee bit. He was okay. And then obviously McTominay comes on and scores the brace that makes the result look a wee bit more comfortable. I think Patterson come on for Hickey, went off injured. It's just, I just don't know. I don't see, why at home to Cyprus. I mean, I may be disrespecting Cyprus massively. I haven't looked at where they are, but it's not like it's Spain. It isn't like Norway are coming to town. We've got to deal with Odegaard and Haaland. It's Cyprus.
You'd back Scotland to take 3 points at home to Cyprus. 100%.
I mean, you'd be worried if they didn't, wouldn't you? So.
I mean, that just looks like a game you play 4 at the back, right? And you just show us that when we're at home against these lesser teams, at least we're going to come out. At least we're going to do something. And there was just nothing to us at all. Like, we're still playing Grant Hanley at the back.
Grant Hanley's still starting.
Like I said earlier, we're shoehorning Kieran Tierney into left centre back. He only plays there for Scotland. And yeah, I don't want to be too defeatist, because we have seen some really, really, really poor Scotland teams. But I just this current way that we're at now, and I don't know, like Cam, obviously you can come in because you've lived through it as well. Born in '98, wouldn't have obviously remembered, the World Cup. You were months old, so you've lived for the past couple of decades with absolutely nothing but pain. But I don't know what's worse. I don't know if it's, playing with a wee bit of excitement and exuberance and coming up short, or playing this absolutely dreadful football, getting to a major competition, i.e. the Euros, and getting absolutely pumped because we have no creativity and we get battered left, right, and centre by Czech Republic, by Croatia. What's the point? You know what I mean, it's almost like we're there to make up the numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what are
pretty
your
much.
what are your thoughts on it, Cam?
I don't disagree, Joel, at all. I think it's just boring style of football, playing Che Adams and Dyche up top. Just can't score with a barn door, and it's boring. There's if John McGinn doesn't score, it seems to be we don't get a goal or we lose 1-0 or uh yeah, no, I agree with Joel from start to finish, from midfield to defence to there's no new life in there. There's no prospect. When I look at the Scotland team, I think, oh, it'd be a good game. I just think John McGinn doesn't score from outside the box or get a goal there or thereabouts. It's just a fucking dire performance. And with
One,
Spain,
the, the one player that I think I don't even think I said his name, but the one player that did impress me, one player looks like he's developed, and obviously he's got that from going down to Watford. Porteous, he looked solid.
Ryan Porteous.
He looked like someone that could, have easily coached, against Cyprus, could easily have coached Grant Hanley, or even if you wanted to play that left foot and play Tierney just as left centre back, looks like could easily have coached him through the game. But for me, obviously he's never going to get it, but I thought he was a good contender for man of the match watching the game. I said I don't think the midfield did an awful lot. John McGinn got the opener, but didn't do much after that. And yeah, the sort of the front, Armstrong was it was involved for the first goal. I think Christie linked up for one of the goals as well with or maybe it was Robertson actually. He sets up McTominay. It's all a bit of a blur, mate, because we win 3-0 and it looks like a game that you should just be like, well, look, yep, good start, good opener, go away happy. But you're obviously happy to see your nation win, of course, but it's just a bit of it happens. It happens on Tuesday when we come up against a team that
seven.
is an actual football team, and with no creativity. If Robertson doesn't get down the line, what do we do? Because like I said, McGregor just seems to go missing for us. Ryan Jack, he probably won't start anyway because McTominay scored two, but hard Scott McTominay doesn't scream creative midfielder. He's more of a sort of a breaker up.
Bully.
Arm, yeah, sort of Armstrong and McGinn, but I doubt he'll play that far forward against Spain. So it'll be more of a solid base, and then we'll have Landon Dykes up top, and he'll be isolated. And you just there's no not that there's no hope, but
There's none.
that's what it kind of feels like. Yeah, I mean, we're aiming for second. We're aiming here realistically to beat
But
Norway at home.
we're not going to do that either.
Well, look, I don't
Oh,
think
you're
we're
in the same
completely
group
out.
as Spain and Norway.
We're fucked.
I don't I don't think that Norway are a fantastically good team
Oh,
either.
what?
To be honest, I think they've Odegaard, Elanusi, Haaland. They've some okay Premier League players, but
Yeah, Haaland is just going to rip our defence apart.
well, Haaland that has struggled in the Premier League against low blocks. Like his speciality is bursting in behind, and we're not going to play that. We're going to sit and defend our 18-yard box. So
Yeah.
he doesn't have Kevin De Bruyne to unpick. Odegaard is a fantastic player, but he's not Kevin De Bruyne.
No, but you forget that he's playing Premier League opposition and not
And that's where five at the
Scotland.
back would come in handy as well.
Yeah, five at the back, and when you're dealing with obviously a striker as prolific and as dangerous as Erling Haaland, then 100%. You know what I mean? It makes complete sense. But five at the back, up against Piers down at phone, because this is how well known the Cyprian team is. Hitas doesn't quite
Yeah.
have the same ring to it, does it?
It's additional.
No. It's a bricklayer, I think, from normal trade.
The only person that I know was Gogic because he plays in the Scottish League, playing centre back for Cyprus. The boy that
Okay.
used to play for St Mirren, or he plays for St Mirren now, sorry, and he played for Hibs, and he's done his tour of the Scottish Premier League. Apart from that, I wonder what Steve Clarke saw that I couldn't, because he obviously thought that we needed five at the back.
Well, it's realistically, he just wanted to start off with a win, so he got that. But
But you
yeah,
see these qualification campaigns, right? It is about, obviously, it's about winning, right, 100%. But it is also about building momentum, building belief, getting the nation
I,
behind you, getting the backing.
I mean, you must love to get your heart. I've given up, mate. I gave up the 18 one when they went all the way to the end, and we needed to beat a team I can't remember, and we lost in like the 90th minute or something like that. I gave up then.
Oh,
Slovenia, you mean?
Yeah, if that's might be the one.
Slovenia.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it was because fucking what's the goalkeeper?
Handanovic.
Danovic was unbelievable, mate. He had like four hands. One was in between his legs, I think.
Yeah, that was Strachan's last game, wasn't it?
But yeah, that's when I gave up. Just thought,
Yeah.
yeah, this
But
is
we
never
have
gonna.
experienced the highs though at Hampden Park. You know, when you had the campaign where you beat Denmark at home and the place was rocking. I think there was like a last minute winner against, I think it was Israel. You had the penalty
Yeah,
shootout win against Serbia.
I bet the Denmark and the Israel games are fine in isolation, but ultimately they end up with us choking because Russia invaded Ukraine, and apparently because of all the virtue signaling, that game is postponed and we can't be played. When realistically, if it was the other way around and we were playing Russia, they get booted out and
yeah,
and we make the World Cup.
Hmm.
So it gets absolutely done. All the momentum dies. We then play a team that the rest of the world is cheering on. We absolutely fuck it, and then we get to play that team a couple of months later, and we beat them home and away. It just shows the shite bags that we have from top to bottom. Constant fucking bottlers. Well, World Cup, literally waiting. Obviously we'd have gone on to face Hughes in the qualifier in that last.
Oh, and then
Um,
they put us in the same bracket as well. Pure shithousery.
so obviously we would have gone on to face
lose.
you, but we've got a fucking we, and Hughes would have felt the same obviously as well. But this would have been this was an incredible chance to make our first World Cup from '98.
Hmm.
Beat Ukraine, right? Who have they got? Zinchenko, fucking Zinchenko, mate. That's who we've got. And then and he's played us off the park like he's prime fucking Zidane, making him look like an absolute fucking mastermind
War
playing
hero.
midfield. And and then if we get past them, then we're facing Wales, a team ranked on the lower half of the top 50, like with a massive chance.
Yeah.
And we absolutely fucked it. And then you've got to pick yourself up again from just the absolute
But
repeat bottle jobs that we
That was
are.
it. It was such a great opportunity as well. Like hypothetically, if if in a different dimension, if you did beat Ukraine and then you came to Cardiff to face Wales, like I mean, we didn't play well against Ukraine in that game in the slightest. We had, one emphatic moment where Bale whips in a fast ball from a free kick and it comes off of Yarmolenko and finds the back of the net. The rest of the game, we weren't great. Bale had one good chance as well in that second half, and apart from that, like on another day and then in another world, like Scotland easily could have come to the Cardiff City Stadium and come out victorious and gone on to that World Cup.
We
yeah,
didn't even
but
get we didn't even give ourselves that's the problem. We didn't even give ourselves a chance in it.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just well, buckle up because with this campaign and probably the next World Cup campaign under Steve Clarke, so nothing's going to change.
yeah, we'll finish third.
but you're off to a good start.
Yeah,
That's the big
I don't, I don't,
positive.
I don't think Norway are a fantastic team. I don't, we've beaten Denmark at home in recent times, and you can accept setting up that way against, like I said, Norway. But I mean, looking at their team, Sorlev obviously plays in the in the Liga. Elanusi, Southampton not doing great. Odegaard, Berg is quite
Berg's
or
quite a good
was
player. You got
it was highly thought of, went to League On and hasn't really done it. That Melin, who I think also got a move to Liga On as well.
Leo
Liga,
Ostergaard, the Napoli centre back, pretty good.
Yeah.
pretty
So
good.
they're all right, but I don't think there's anything to be overly
I think
fearful of.
I just don't think we beat. I don't think we get any points off Spain. I think we maybe get a point off of Norway. I don't think we're good enough.
You
I think
know,
if Cyprus, if
I
you're
would
talking
expect us.
about
I'd expect us to win all our home games bar Spain. I expect us to beat Georgia. I expect us to beat Norway, and I expect us to beat. And we have beat Cyprus.
you're the person that said that we didn't look comfortable until the 89th minutes against Cyprus, against the people that don't even
Yeah,
have professional footballers. They just have bricklayers that play.
yeah.
Uh,
But
mate.
I still think the way that we play and the way we suffocate a game will be enough to get. I don't. They're not big European teams, but that's what I mean. We're stuck with this football because Clark gets he does get results from it. Until we lost to Ukraine, we was on whatever it was, that winning
6
run, like, which was the best we'd had for a wee while. So it does
ever, I think.
it does breed
Oh, mate.
results. It's so dire to watch.
I'd rather not. I'd rather watch paint dry or just drink a paint thinner.
I mean, and now our
Boring.
Burnley fans
You
feel.
do that anyway.
I did.
And just
Uh,
one,
Hello.
no pun intended. I'm gonna stir the pot a little bit here, and I see a quote from a particular player who previously had committed their international allegiance to Scotland, who had then switched to Australia and had
He's a
explained.
cunt.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Who?
Jason Cummings. He came out and said, like, I switched allegiance to Australia because Scotland never qualified for anything.
His nickname is something like Cum Dog or something, can it?
Cumdog, yeah.
There's literally everything you need to. That
So,
doesn't even need to be cut. That's
so,
normally something Cam would say. It doesn't even need to be cut.
sounds joke, mate. Where's that? Is it Town Under?
He's he's a little fucking retrobate. The biggest moment was being a substitute for the other side of Glasgow. Like, fucking playing for Shrewsbury before he went to the A League.
I
Like,
mean,
do me
I
a
mean,
favour.
unfortunately, he's not wrong. So,
Jason
couple of some
Cummins talking
people.
about not qualifying. It's like a homeless person slagging your furniture. Stay in your lane, mate. All right.
I mean, there's some nice furniture on the streets.
Like, you're talking about getting to the World Cup. You sat on the bench for the majority of it and watched it as a fucking spectator, and then had your bit part appearance. So shut your mouth, mate. You got a nice trip to Qatar
More,
and you got to sit pitch side. Fuck up.
more appearances than the whole Scotland team put together. Oh, come on, Ireland. This should be a joke.
Wait, who are Ireland playing at the moment?
France. They're 1-0 down,
France.
but they had a really good
Oh.
chance. Need Thierry Henry to come off the bench and handball it in.
Oh, no need. We should have tried to steal that.
Ooh.
Should have tried to steal that Ferguson. He must have had a trip to Glasgow at some point. Like, we should have tried to pinch him.
Oh, the Brighton boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been held in high regard as of late as well. Like, obviously doing well at Brighton. Did he score his first Ireland goal last week as well?
I think so. They were, obviously they're
Shit.
making big chat about him. I watched was it the quarterfinal Grimsby were in? They made a lot of him in that game for someone that was bagging goals against Grimsby, but
You can only score what's put against you, mate.
Indeed he can. But I think it says a lot about Scotland that obviously Che Adams has returned to Southampton with injury. Lawrence Shankland has been called up.
Lawrence Shankland.
Yeah.
Why does the boy from Hibs not play?
Kevin Nisbet?
Yeah. Why has he shagged someone's door or something?
I think he's injured again, mate. I don't know. He was obviously he was in the squad for the Euros.
Yeah, he never played a single minute though, did he?
I'm not sure, mate. I had COVID through those Euros.
Fucking, he wasn't missing much. The only time we played decent games when we battered England and unfortunately couldn't get a goal. Well, that's another thing. Made it to finals and didn't even fucking score a goal.
We did. Callum
Did we?
McGregor scored against Croatia.
Oh, one. That's how much I remember that pile of pish.
I remember. Celebrated it like we'd won the thing.
No.
But yeah, that's where we're at. Let's come on to some
Hit it.
happier hunting grounds. And I'm sure you were absolutely buzzing with the result in Croatia yourself.
I was pretty delirious because I could only describe it as a typical smash and grab draw performance.
I didn't see much of it. For a little bit of fun, Anya had put a bet on, and I decided to back against everything that Anya had picked. And part of that was it was an accumulator that was going to bring in £87,000 if it come in. Surprisingly, it didn't. But yeah, one of the picks I went against was Wales to get a draw or win in Croatia. So that one got up for me. Just some disappointing results elsewhere. More so Charlton Athletic drawing bastards.
Oh god.
I had them to draw.
Good shout.
I know.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm still very surprised that we came away with a point in the end because from start to finish, Croatia just played us off the park as we expected. Because if we look at it from the perspective on paper, Croatia away is our toughest fixture in our group. And this is a group that that consists of us, Croatia, Turkey, Latvia, and Armenia, I believe.
Oh, you should get through that.
This is the thing. I mean, I think we're looking in the same sense as Scotland. Like we're looking like, oh, we're gonna target second because, this is the beginning of an era without Gareth Bale now, as he's hung up his boots, and so it's just trying to nurture whatever young talent you could say coming through the ranks, and the team itself, it was pretty much a lineup that you would have been familiar with at the World Cup, like excluding Bale. So there was, obviously we've seen Joe Allen retire, we've had Chris Gunter retire, we had Johnny Williams retire. So, like apart from those three and Bale, quite a familiar face side. So there was Danny Ward in goal. Hennessy missed out for injury, and then we had the back line of Joe Rodon, Chris Mepham, Connor Roberts, Nico Williams on the left side. Midfield two of Joe Morrell, who honestly is just a Welsh Manny McCann, just goes missing, doesn't really contribute anything. Ethan Ampadu, who I've rated ever so highly for the last few seasons, I've now come to the realisation that he's just a Welsh Granit Xhaka, just a walking yellow card.
It's going to be Shannon Matthews. So how many you get in there?
Fucking hell, Cam. I don't want to get so much cut. I don't want only 15 minutes of this episode, you prick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sensitive.
Yeah, so unfortunately we didn't have Brennan Johnson for that game either. He picked up a groin injury last week before I think it was before the training camp got together, and then so we had the front three of Harry Wilson, Dan James, and Kiefer Moore.
Is Harry Wilson the one that plays for Fulham?
Yeah, he plays for Fulham. Again,
at least there's a wee bit of excitement in your attack. Like,
there is.
Like you're going up against obviously
Brendan Johnson can suck a dick and die, mate. How many times I bag him to score and he just doesn't? So.
Like Harry Wilson, Dan James. At least there's Dan James with a bit of pace, Harry Wilson with a bit of creativity, and then obviously Big Kiefer. Would kill for that kind of attack.
Is Dan James the Man United boy?
He's Leeds now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boy. For a save.
No, it's like as much as as exciting as it is hearing some of those names on the team sheet. The big problem that the Wales national team has is that our players don't get enough minutes at club football level. So, Harry Wilson not really getting regular minutes at Fulham at the moment.
He
Dan,
starts, doesn't he?
No,
no, he
No.
comes off the bench a lot.
Oh,
Nico,
I'd take him at
starts.
Celtic.
I'd love him to go to Celtic, Harry Wilson. I think he'd do brilliant up in.
Swap him for Leo Labada.
Ooh.
Fulham, get on the
Ooh.
blower.
Oh, mate.
I just don't feel like you have that sort of power.
10 million plus a cheeky Harry Wilson.
Bit more than 10 million.
Nah, it isn't he? Is it?
I don't know.
Leo Labada, he's good at scoring at the back post, but the guy's
Is he? I don't watch Celtic much often, mate. They're not on TV.
So, yeah, no. Croatia from start to finish were on top of us as we expected. We just honestly, like, against a team like Croatia, and we just struggled to really form any attacking threat. We struggled to really get to the pace of the game. Like, didn't really string more than 3 passes together, and we just relied on set pieces to get us through and create opportunities. And from the first half, I can recall a Harry Wilson free kick which just goes over the bar, and that was really the only threat we had from the first 45 minutes. Apart from that, Croatia on top. Modric has a good chance early doors, routine save from Danny Ward, and then Kramaric has a good chance, and Danny Ward pulls off a great save, and then just typical slack defending from Nico Williams and Joe Rodon. Kramaric gets through and outside foot finish, near post, comfortable finish, and then and second half seemed to be rinse and repeat from Croatia, getting forward, creating opportunities, and then we had a bit of a spell to ourselves where Harry Wilson gets the ball down the right side, picks out Dan James at the back post, who lashes his first time effort wide, where realistically he should have hit the target at the very least, and was easily our best chance of the game prior to the goal. And then out of nowhere, long throw comes in, flick on from Mepham, and then substitute Nathan Broadhead kicked out at the far post and nips home an equaliser with 20 seconds to play. Sends the away end into raptures, and honestly, was just in complete disbelief. Didn't have any expectation. I was pretty okay coming away with just a 1-0 defeat in Split. Like I said, Croatia are our toughest opposition in the group, and so there wasn't a lot of expectation going into that game. And to come away from a point, which is our toughest game on paper in the group, was massive. And especially at the time where Broadhead had come on, along with I think it was Luke Harris, the Fulham boy, had come on as well for his debut. Like, there was, again, just young upcoming players that are coming through into the ranks and bringing off the likes of Harry Wilson, Ramsey, and Dan James all at once looked to be a big gamble from Rob Page at the time, especially with 15 minutes to play. We just needed to bring off. I was honestly expecting him to bring off one of the fullbacks like Nico Williams, for example, and just to go free at the back and then pile forward and just see what we can create from whatever set piece opportunities that came around. And thankfully, of all things, it came from a long throw and came away with a point. And then we're back in Cardiff tomorrow night, home to Latvia. A game like you experienced yourself, Joel, against Cyprus. So, it's a fixture that you'd expect to comfortably come away with 3 points and just keep that momentum going, and just seeing how far we can go in this group, and towards the end, hopefully come out on top and see where we end up.
What's the obviously, I haven't followed it too closely. I know, obviously, Rob Page, I imagine, is held in pretty high regard for his exploits with the Welsh national team across the last little while. But what is the expectation Now, obviously, you've had the World Cup, but you've lost, some pretty integral figures, not just in the likes of Bow in terms of ability, but leaders in the dressing room. Joe Allen may have been, off it in terms of, being able to affect much on the pitch, but the likes of, like you said, Chris Gunter and Bow and Joe Allen, that experience, those leadership roles, I imagine would have been, sort of pivotal in the dressing room, pivotal to, getting people to buy into Rob Page, and now you're blooding, obviously, like the next kind of generation. What is the expectation?
Well, I think at the moment it's really trying to build together a unit where, this is life without Bale now. I mean, we've still got Aaron Ramsey, who is rightfully our new captain, and he's the main figure who's got a spearhead this side now. And obviously, there's, like I said, some older faces like Kiefer Moore there, who's been in and around that old group of Chris Gunter, Gareth Bale, Joe Allen. So I feel he brings heaps of experience to the side, and I feel Joe Rodon himself has been in and around the team for quite a while, who's got quite a big persona about him as well. And really, it's just trying to nurture these big upcoming stars, like such as Brennan Johnson. I think he's probably the biggest one who we really should be pushing towards stardom, and Nico Williams as well, who tends to be quite a outstanding performer for us in the Red of Wales. And ultimately, it's really just maintaining, keeping ourselves on the map and keeping teams on high alert that, Ahmad Heed, we're still here. And we've got to, become notable for not being a one-man team, because that's all it's ever felt like as a Welsh fan in the last decade. It's always been, we've been known for a one-man team and Gareth Bale. We've got to now steer away from that shadow and be recognised more as 11 players and not just one individual. And that it still stands there with Aaron Ramsey as well. When it comes to Wales, everyone thinks of Aaron Ramsey now. And there's been, multiple questions from, other fans of, other backgrounds, like, you'd have Americans that would say, like, oh, Gareth Bale, like, what's going to happen to Wales now? You ain't going to perform so well. Like, that.
Do they?
Well, I mean, honestly, I've had a few people that I work with who come from overseas, and again are only know Wales for Gareth Bale. And so this is it. Like, we've just got to build on the group of players that are coming in, and Nathan Broadhead, who scored the equaliser as well, who's on loan at I think he's on loan at Ipswich at the moment, doing well, on loan from Everton. And then we got other players like Luke Harris coming through the ranks, and like it's really just got to push on now. And hopefully, with these younger players being in and around the experienced ones like Kiefer Moore and Aaron Ramsey and Joe Morrell, it's just getting themselves familiar and building up their self-confidence when it comes to match performances, especially where they don't get club football week in, week out as well. Like I said, that's the biggest problem that stands with the national side at the moment, is that we need these players playing regularly at club level. Ethan Ampadu has been at Chelsea for the last 5-6 years, and he's been out on loan every season. And we've seen him go to the likes of Leipzig. He's been at Sheffield United the season they got promoted with Chris Wilder. He's been out on loan in Italy 2 seasons in a row now. He needs to find somewhere where he's permanently settled and is playing week in, week out. Not playing every other couple of weeks in the Bundesliga with Leipzig, playing in a Sheffield United side where it felt like Chris Wilder just invested into young players and didn't really have a sense of experience around the dressing room at the time. And I think that's probably what his biggest downfall was at Sheffield United that season. And now he's playing for Italian teams that have just been promoted from Serie B and scrapping for survival. He needs to find a level, because we don't know what level of player he really is, because he's been so up and down in terms of reputation of teams he's played at. I mean, he's gone from playing Champions League with Leipzig, and then all of a sudden he's scrapping relegation with Spezia in Italy. Like, we don't really know what to expect of Ethan Ampadu, and like I said, he's someone who I've held in high regard in the last couple of years, and all I see from him now is just he doesn't really break up play. He just, I think he's always up there for fouls committed. And so, yeah, this is it. Like, it's the big focus point for us is to get these players noticed from clubs, so they are playing on a weekly basis at club level, and that really will benefit us as a national side.
I think you've absolutely hit the nail on the head. This is life without Bale. Soon it'll be life without Rambo as well. Top shagger, love him. Great penalty taker.
Inside job.
Yeah, absolutely. Agent Rambo. So it'll soon be life without him, and obviously you've already transitioned it. A little bit, like you said, a lot of people, that had the 2016 run, the Hal Robson Carnews and Joe Allens and that kind of generation, Rambo probably kind of last of it. So it'll be good for them to stand on their own. And I guess that, this qualification campaign will underline what kind of strides Wales have made, but I think that's the problem that Scotland have bumped into for a long time is we end up picking players that weren't getting major game time, and certainly the success under Clark probably has been that the likes of Stuart Armstrong was playing for Southampton, McGinn's playing regularly for Villa, obviously Robertson at Liverpool, Cooper when he was in the team for Leeds, Porteous is going to be playing regularly for Watford, so they are getting game time. And like I said, like Ryan Porteous looked, a different defender just from going down and changing things. A lot of the time up at Hibs, I always thought of him as a good defender, but he was just in Scotland just to be a bit clumsy, be a bit prone to getting drawn in against like Alfredo Morelos, and easy to bam up. So going down to the English league, not having that sort of connection, I think has brought him on and allowed him to mature a wee bit, and he looks like he could be a decent defender. But certainly I think that's the key, getting if Harry Wilson isn't going to be playing week in, week out, yes, obviously he wants to play in the Premier League, but is there a case to say, look, if Fulham are having a fantastic season, they're knocking on the door of that top 8, is there an argument to say,
is he at the right level? Yeah, is he better suited? Elsewhere.
To maybe like and I'm not saying go here, but like a Crystal Palace or something where you're going to be able to, because I think there's a player in there. I think he is a good player that could reach the level of being a starter. I mean, you look at Brighton and the likes of Solly March and that have come on leaps and bounds, but they're having a great season now, but they had to pave that way by just admitting that they needed to be playing at a Brighton.
Yeah.
Get that. So
this is it. Yeah. No, and a player like Harry Wilson has bags of ability as well. I mean, he's a brilliant set piece taker. He's got a wand of a left foot on him, and yeah, look, we've seen how well Fulham have done this season, and of course he's been an individual that hasn't been, I think he's been a bit part player for Fulham this season, and it leaves you in a bit of a conflicting headspace as to whether or not, is he good enough for that level? Does he need to find himself, like you said, at a lower table Prem side? Does he need to go to someone like a Sheffield United or a Norwich?
I think the absolute parallel to that is the likes of Billy Gilmore, who is highly regarded.
Pile of pish.
Cam thinks different.
He is highly regarded in Scotland. A lot of people think that he's the future of our midfield. Obviously, I think he's only on loan at Brighton, but it hasn't quite worked out. I think the way that he thought it was, Graham Potter wasn't his biggest fan, it would seem, even though he brought him in, and it seems like the new coach has come in, favours other people as well. But if he's gonna go on and be what a lot of people expect him to be, I think he probably needs a little bit of time. He's linked a lot of the time, obviously, with Rangers because of his connections and stuff like that. But I think he needs something. He needs to go and get serious minutes under his belt and really develop. Because if not, and if you make the wrong move, you just end up being a Ryan Gould that everyone was absolutely
raving about, the Scottish Messi. Yeah,
and now he's in Portugal somewhere, and I'm sure
I think he's out in America now, isn't he?
Or is he in America now?
He was at America at one point, and then he did go to some obscure Portuguese team. I don't know if it's the other way around. I'm not too sure.
Madeline FC.
But,
might as well be, yeah.
But yeah, that's what I mean. It's a strange set of circumstances, and you get players like this that sort of hang about at a level that they've been used as squad players. They lose, maybe a bit of what they are, and they need to go and sort of redevelop himself and find himself. And I think a couple of players that fall into that are probably Harry Wilson and Billy Gilmore as well.
Yeah, I feel the national poll as well also speaks for itself, because you mentioned, Joel, about Grant Hanley still being part of, I mean, again, like, he's a regular, and I get the same sense with Joe Morrell. Is it really like the sense of that they get called up because there's purely no other alternative behind them?
It must be.
It's got to be, surely, because you think...
I think Hanley still play for Norwich, and they 7th in...
Yeah, so no, he still plays at Norwich.
7th in the Championship. There has to be, just categorically, there has to be a better centre-back than Grant Hanley that we can call up. But Steve Clarke has his favourites, I mean, much like Gareth Southgate and his loyalty to players, and the likes of Maguire and that. There has to be a better alternative, a better option.
He must have a sex tape with him or something to still get into that team.
Like it's wild. Like, so even someone like Declan Gallagher, he's at St Mirren now. Ross McCrory, I know that he's more of a right back but can play centre back. I know Aberdeen are having a stinker of a season. John Suter, I think, is maybe injured. Obviously, he got the move from Hearts to Rangers. I think he may still be injured. But there definitely has to be a call for someone better. It can't be that difficult.
This is it. And I think the same thing with Joe Morrell. Like, I mean, there was one individual, again, playing in the Scottish Premier League, in Dylan Levitt at Dundee United, who was getting heaps of praise. I think the problem is with Dylan Levitt, I think he's more of like a Harry Wilson type player, where he plays a bit further forward, number 10, out wide sort of role. And so I don't think he would fit, like a Joe Morrell, Joe Allen, Ampadu sort of position, where he is in a duo midfield where one breaks up play and then the other one can bring the ball forward and look to exploit the likes of Wilson, Dan James, Brendan Johnson, Ramsey, etc. And so again, he was another one that was, getting headlines for Dundee United last season, and then again we don't see anything of him since.
Yeah, Dundee United haven't had their best season.
I don't know if he went back there or not. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Oh, he did go back. Okay.
He's on Dundee United, so he's not having the best season. But he was a player on a lot of people's radar for Celtic after his exploits last season. Name that was flying around. I think a lot of people probably still would take him, obviously as a squad player.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's of that kind of ilk of like Turnbull and that. So, but no, we've seen enough of him that he's a decent player. I just think Dundee United are in a tight spot at the moment, and that often leads to not playing the most expressive football that you can. And then obviously that has a knock-on effect for people like Dylan Everett that are probably not being utilised in their preferred roles, normally not getting the game time that's needed when you're playing up in Scotland to get a call up, because the likes of Harry Wilson and that playing probably less minutes are always going to get the nod because they're a Premier League club.
Yeah. Let's talk about England a little bit, because it feels like there's been a lot of scrutiny behind Gareth Southgate's team selection, despite coming away with wins over Italy and Ukraine in the last couple of days. It's become very clear that Gareth Southgate does still have his favourites in the likes of Harry Maguire and Jordan Pickford.
I think keep it going.
I think Pope was injured for one of them, but he probably still would have picked Pickford. I'm not gonna lie.
Did Pope did he actually get a call up? Because I'm looking at the bench. I mean, okay, maybe it's because for injury, because Fraser Forster's on the bench along with Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Aaron Ramsdale top of the Premier League and can't get in the team, that's ridiculous. Like,
he's not that great of a goalkeeper.
He's top of the Premier League.
So
he should be starting ahead of Jordan Pickford, who's in a relegation battle.
So doesn't make him a better goalkeeper, does it?
Well, it does, because he's kept more clean sheets and taken his team to more points.
No, it's
What
the
do you mean,
person.
no?
You put Pickford in that team. He has more clean sheets. Simple as. It's the team he plays in. It's the front 10 in front of him. That's
kind
stupid.
of how football works. Do you think he's going to have to make more saves at England? So do you think he's going to have to make more saves at England when they're playing Ukraine and Italy than what he's going to have to make at Arsenal in the Premier League?
No.
So on form, why would he not be in the team?
Because I don't. No, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be in the team. I'm just saying I don't think he's that much better than Pickford. That's what I'm saying.
I think Pickford's shit.
Yeah, but I think Ramsdale's shit. The geezer got chipped from 50 yards out. He's not that great of a goalkeeper. I don't understand this logic.
Pickford has arms like a fucking T-Rex.
Yeah, I don't understand the logic, because what? Because he's top of the league. That Ramsdale's now a great goalkeeper in the Premier League.
I'm not saying he's a great goalkeeper, but at the moment, behind Nick Pope, who I think is their best keeper, he should be in on form.
I mean, everyone's down to their own opinions. I just don't think you can rate Pickford. Pickford always stands up for England. He's always been a good performer.
I just wonder what they're picking it on though. Nick Pope and Aaron Ramsdale are joint top clean sheets for the Premier League. So I just wonder what
loyalty, mate. That's what he's picked it on. He's not picked on anything else. England managers never pick teams on anything but who plays at bigger clubs and stuff like that.
It's all about familiarity, isn't it?
Jordan Pickford as many clean sheets as Danny Ward this season.
Daddy Wood, Daddy Wood.
I just don't. I look at Pickford in big moments, in club level at Everton, and is he a leader? Not really. Aaron Ramsdale has that chat about him. I think he would lead. He would speak to a defence and control it more. And that's how I think Nick Pope's their best keeper, but I think he was injured. Like I'm all for them playing Pickford. Let him keep playing him. I think he's your third best keeper, so more power to you. But I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's loyalty, mate. It's just what it is.
Harry Maguire's still getting in the team.
This is it, yeah. And then there's Kieran Trippier on the bench.
Yeah,
Who started right back? Was it Reece James?
Kyle Walker.
Yeah, he's good at showing. He's good. Or Kyle.
Like, I just staying completely and utterly loyal to these players, it just reeks of mediocrity, doesn't it? I mean, yes, they had one good competition where they go to the final and lose.
You'd probably say they've had two. Sorry, the semi-finals. Yeah.
England are an establishment, right, that shouldn't, by any stretch of the imagination, be happy with anything other than the last four in any knockout competition they're in. In any finals they get to, European Championships or World Cup or otherwise, they shouldn't be happy unless they're in the semi-finals.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Like the pool of players, the players that they have playing at, the players that they have held in high regard, the likes of Jude Bellingham, the way that people talk about Declan Rice, Bakary Saka, Marcus Rashford,
Declan Rice is dog
Harry
shit.
Kane. I don't like him either. But Kieran Trippier, Reece James, you're having an argument over Nick Pope, Aaron Ramsdale, Jordan Pickford, when the other two walk into most international sides in world football.
This is it. Like, if they were Scottish or Welsh, you'd be delirious to have one of them.
I think a lot of that England team walks into a lot of national teams, but I think it comes down to the matter of...
If you look on the bench of England, right? So okay, we probably exclude Fraser Forster because I imagine he was an emergency call up for courtesy of Nick Pope being an injury. Aaron Ramsdale,
top list.
Yeah, Aaron Ramsdale, Kieran Trippier, Eric Dyer.
He's a ball bag, mate.
Okay.
Up.
Mark.
But again, more power to him. More power. Keep calling them up. Keep playing them. I'm all for it.
Mark Gay, Jack Hunt. Never mind him. Jack Grealish, Calvin Phillips, Conor Gallagher, Ivan Toney.
He's good at a bit.
Did Ivan Toney even get a cap?
No.
What's the point in calling him up? I don't get this shit.
He actually. Does he get? Well, he came off the bench in the 81st minute.
Oh, did he? Good for him. He had a bet substitute on.
So he does get a cap, but I know that Harry Kane is your guy and he's broken the records and fair play to him, but Harry Kane breaks the record against Italy. You're in a qualifier. I know that you want to win the game in that, but I think you could easily, at home, say, right, Ivan, you're starting the game. If you don't bag in the first half, we're going to take you off and put Harry on.
First name bases with players, yeah, Joel? Ivan and...
He come up, he had a look around Celtic, he wanted to come. At that point, Peter Lawrell was still in charge and was penny pinching like a motherfucker, so we didn't get him. And ended up getting Albion a yay.
Yeah, what boy.
Sign him.
That England team realistically should win something. I hope it doesn't.
Like Joel said, the least England should expect of themselves is the Final Four. It should be England, France. If we're talking World Cup, Argentina should be there, and then possibly Brazil.
I mean, we're not talking about Germany.
No, they're dog shit, mate.
Think about Think about the people they're missing here as well. They don't even have Phil Foden in their team. Arguably, I know he's injured, I think.
Yeah,
but arguably, their most influential attacking player behind Kane.
I don't think that's arguable. I think that's just pure facts. You look at how good he is for City.
the wingers are ridiculous. Bakary Saka and Phil Foden, and the way that they're coming in, and to have a team like that. It seems that England always churn this out, right? They produce fantastic teams, and then they put absolute monster munchers in charge of them, and they
Well,
wonder why these golden generations slip by.
Well, you look at the boy that plays for AC Milan that came from Chelsea. How does he not get caught up?
Oh,
Tomorrow?
Tomori, yeah.
What does he?
And this guy, yeah.
What does he have to do to get caught up?
Be Harry Maguire.
Apparently so.
Like,
Or
win
Eric Dyer.
Serie A. Oh, Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer over Tomori. What?
That's ridiculous.
I'm all for it. Keep it coming. Gareth Southgate, another extension.
Masterclass.
Decade in charge. Good on you, mate.
Would you be annoyed as well if you were Tammy Abraham or like Florin Balogun, having Ollie Watkins been called up over you?
Nah, Ollie Watkins deserves it, doesn't he?
Does Balogun class himself as English?
I think he does. Well, then
you'd be pissed, yeah.
We're going to steer away quickly from international football because there is one outstanding headline that I wanted to discuss with you, Cam, and I think you know what it is. Going off that reaction, Mr. Antonio Conte, he's out the door. He's gone.
Yeah.
There's
not much more to be said.
No more.
I'm quite sad actually. The way we played the end of the year, thought this could be the man to bring a bit of silverware, but it's not the case. He's shined some light on the backroom staff about Tottenham, which I think a lot of fans already knew. But how many more world-class managers can Tottenham really have until people start looking at other pitches and the players, and it's just a joke.
It's the real underlying problem.
Yeah, 15 years with Carling Cup that Jermaine Genius holds over everyone.
You say that every week.
You
do you know
actually
why?
do.
Jermaine Genius does my Sweden, but the problem is Tottenham are in for this Bayern Munich manager. The geezer got sacked from Bayern Munich. What does he think's going to happen at Tottenham?
Oh
Right.
yeah, Nagelsmann. Yeah.
Let's pause for a minute, right, and look at Nagelsmann's sacking. Right, he's second, a point off Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah.
And he's in the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
And look at
That's
that
a bit
team.
fucking mad, isn't it?
Nah, look at that team.
No, but come on, it's a bit mental.
It's stupid. It's ridiculously stupid.
If you're 10 points behind Dortmund, right, and the league's gone, and you've been knocked out of the Champions League, right, Bayern Munich, high expectations, fair enough, accept it. 1 point behind in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. You've just knocked out Paris Saint-Germain, and you're sacked.
Yeah, but Bayern Munich aren't a team to be hushing and hawing around managers. This is an upcoming manager for a world-class manager in Tuchel. It's not fucking Brian's on the wall, isn't it?
In March as well, and Joel's hit the nail on the head at every point there.
But this is the same Bayern Munich that sacked their manager that won a triple, that put in Pep Guardiola.
Guardiola
He
walked.
retired.
You're
talking about the fella before. That was his.
Oh, he retired. Yeah, he retired.
He didn't get sacked. He retired, and then Pep went there. But it's mental, mate. It's the idiocracy that is rife in modern day football. Like 1 point behind Dortmund. I think they've still to play him as well. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. It's PSG mentality.
It's just absolute ridiculousness. I don't think at this point anyone thinks that Bayern won't win that league because they could easily go on a run.
I seriously hope they don't after that.
I'd love Dortmund to win the league. You're talking about the game that they lost, right? Yes, they had a shaky start and whatnot, but the game they lost was away to Bayer Leverkusen. Apparently, that's the straw that broke the camel's back. Away to Leverkusen, a reputable team, a well-known team in Germany. You've gone there and come up short. It's absolutely mental.
And you see Bayern come away with bizarre results every season, all the time, where they lose to teams like Cologne or Stuttgart or Union Berlin. it's nothing out of the ordinary. And like you said, Bayer Leverkusen, heavily reputable German side that have succeeded in European football and have done well in the Bundesliga and actually got history about them. There's no like, there's no logic behind it whatsoever.
I just think it's Tuchel would have been snapped up, and they've just taken the chance.
When you look at the money they invested in this guy as well, right? So they invested 20 million
Isn't
to get him
isn't he
out
like the
of
most expensive manager as well?
paid a 20 million buyout clause to get him from Leipzig, give him a 5-year deal on, crazy money, and you binned him a point off a first in the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
No, and the sad realization is, if hypothetically he goes to Tottenham, be the same song and dance.
He's not going to Tottenham.
If he was,
it would be a great appointment for Tottenham, but he's not going there.
The thing is, you could have Fergie come out of retirement, go to Tottenham, and he would not win anything.
I think he'll be at PSG. It will bide his time.
Why the fuck would you go to that club?
Because he's guaranteed to win. They want the money. He's guaranteed to at least win
what? The league.
and then you can have a crack at the Champions League. You've got Mbappe, one of the best players in the world, to manage. I think that's where it'll go.
I mean, I really don't see the hype around Mbappe, but I guess it'll be one of them ones.
I mean, I think it's reasonable why there's a lot of hype around Mbappe.
I think he's a fucking merchant, mate. I just think he's got a bit of pace, and that's about it. Don't think he's that great of a player.
Right, moving on.
Leave it there.
But
I
don't think there's many teams in world football that he would think can win the Champions League that aren't already well and truly tucked up. The only other absolute curveball, if we're thinking about money, I don't think they'll do it, but the only absolute curveball for longevity and building, that project, could Newcastle say, thanks Eddie Howe, you've took us this far. This is the guy that's going to lead us for the next.
No, go Madrid or something. Madrid are always looking for a new manager, aren't they? Feels
Well,
like.
that could be it. And Ancelotti obviously isn't doing well. He could go at the end of the season. It looks like Barca are gonna win. So it looks some stuff will open up.
Yeah,
but back to back.
Especially if Ancelotti doesn't win the Champions League with Real Madrid this season.
I mean, he will though, won't he?
I think it's just one and only saving grace now.
Yeah.
They're in the side with Napoli, aren't they?
No, they're not. City are.
It's mad, that draw, that either AC Milan, Napoli, Benfica, or Inter will be in the final.
That's a fucking another thing. That's another thing, isn't it? That fucking Tottenham bow out to AC Milan and then you get that draw. Pile of pish. Is it from Napoli?
Well, that's who you'd have been up against. Would have been a tough game against Napoli. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at that draw. You're thinking if you get past Napoli, you've got a semi-final against Inter Milan.
You're in another final, you lose. Right.
I mean, yeah, it'd be interesting to see where Nagelsmann lands, but I don't think it'll be Tottenham just because of the Daniel Levy situation, and Levy's going nowhere. He makes far too much money renting that stadium out for fights and NFL and whatever else he can endorse to bring in.
Yes.
And Tottenham are happy with Europa League. That's the crazy thing. It's not even Champions League that Levy's happy with.
Yeah,
he's honestly comfortable with Europa League.
Yeah, say him, but I wouldn't say Tottenham are happy. He's happy for it all.
He's happy. He's happy with mediocrity.
Well, he's not going to get me.
He pretends like he's not, but he sacked Conte because he spoke out of turn, not because of where they are in the league. He would have took fifth.
Yeah.
And carried on going.
Yeah.
His preference is fourth because it's more money, of course, but he'd have took fifth.
This is it. Yeah.
Where do Tottenham go now?
Down.
But honestly, wise remarks aside, where would you, if you could pick anyone, where would you like to see him go?
What, manager-wise?
Yep.
I like Eddie Howe at Newcastle.
He's not leaving Newcastle though, is he?
Yeah, I
You've got
know
to
he's
take
not.
credit.
But you said if I could have anyone,
Eddie Howe would be your pick.
Premier League manager, like the way they play football, proven success.
I hope that Tottenham snap up someone pretty quickly because of all
This
of
is
all the
this
of all the jobs in the world, I think that
this is
would be one that
this is what
Mis-
fucks me
Mr. Post
off.
Mr. Postecoglou would be excited about.
This is what fucks me off with Tottenham. You've had 2 weeks from the international break. You can't tell me that they did not expect to sack him. Why wait this late? To go into a game Sunday or Saturday that you must win for top four, that you have to keep it going. Why sack him now? Sack him at the beginning. After the press conference, bang, sack him. There and done. Have some sort of backbone.
My worry is that Tottenham is an exciting project that, if they were to come and knock on the door, and would be thinking, am I going to get a better opportunity? Hopefully they don't come knocking.
I'd personally hate if Ange went to Tottenham. I'd honestly hate if he went there.
I'd hate him if he went. I'd hate it if he went anywhere.
But... Like not obviously, along with the sense of him, with the great things he's doing at Celtic, but to with the thought of potentially joining the list of the likes of Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, Pochettino, to be at a club, where they've been highly successful elsewhere, and to come away from that club inevitably with no silverware.
Pochettino wasn't successful.
Well, we took you to a Champions League final. That's
not success, though, is it?
Fucking is for Tottenham.
This is the thing. Like, it really is, though.
Unless it's Jermaine Genius.
Ledley King won that as well, mate.
He does a
Jonathan Woodgate, mate, got the winning goal.
Yeah, what a player.
Look, I think whoever steps in through the door is...
Zinedine Zidane?
Zidane, perhaps?
Nah, he's going Chelsea, mate.
Do you know something we don't?
Yeah, I got Zizi on fucking hotline, mate.
Fucking hell. Mr. Fabriziano here. Here we go.
Hi.
That's the only one they really haven't burned yet. They'd be interesting to see who they put, because Potter's gone at the end of the season.
Look, it'll be a different manager, but the same shit. That's what it'll be.
Interesting time for Tottenham, though. Next appointment has to click.
And it won't, because it hasn't clicked for the last 15 years.
Have to wait and see. And the next weekend, we've also got a particular derby that I'm, in essence, not emotionally ready for. South Wales derby.
Big one.
Is that on Sunday?
It's on a Saturday, 3:00 kickoff.
What?
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sky Sports. The last I saw, it's definitely Saturday at 3:00. South Wales derby at fucking 3:00.
Fuck me, the police are they're gonna be in the pubs from 9 in the morning, mate. Jesus
Oh, yeah.
Christ.
Long
Trouble
day.
at that game.
Long day for them. But
Fuck them.
no, I just hope we've packed that place out. There was a little part of me that was going to look for last minute tickets, but there's no way I'm sitting in the family stand or the fucking corporate end. No way.
Did you do it?
Nah, Canton end or nothing.
Pure banter.
Nah, mate, I want to be bouncing. Nah, it's not going to happen, but...
Once you get pumped.
Yeah, but I've just seen the timer come up as well. On a brighter note, we have no fantasy football this week, so we don't have no final segment. So I believe...
As we were.
Yeah.
Sam's still struggling.
Well, we're going to wrap things up, ladies and gents. Gentlemen, pleasure as always. Thank you for joining me this evening.
Enjoyed it, mate. Apart from all the cuts from Cam, but enjoyed it.
Like a fucking emo 13-year-old.
There it is. You have to get one more in. You have to get one more in. Prick. Oh, listeners, thank you very much for tuning in. If you are new to the Football Booth podcast, you can check out all episodes over on Spotify Audible, Apple Podcasts. If you want to catch all the live recordings, you can head over to our YouTube channel at The Football Booth. Whilst you're over there, drop a like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. Until next week, ladies and gents, I bid you all good night and Nostar.